And then it shall be free.
What's up, everybody? It's Young Cure with Day 7 of the Metal Gear Solid 5 Countdown Retrospective. Only one more week to go, everybody. Just one more freaking week. We can do this. For today's retrospective, let's look back to the barrage of Phantom Pain information that followed after the unveiling of the Red Band E3 2013 trailer. This information pretty much came from a combination of interviews, Kojima Productions podcasts, and tweets from Kojima himself. The first big reveal following E3 2013 was that Troy Baker would be playing the role of Ocelot. On June 12, 2013, Kojima posted the following tweet confirming this fact. Earlier that day, Troy Baker had also posted a tweet stating that he had been given a private demo of MGS5 by Hideo Kojima himself, and that it was a true honor to be involved with such an incredible game. Also on the same day, episode 315 of the Hide Radio podcast was published, in which Kojima also talked a bit about D-Walker, although back then we didn't know its name. While I don't have a direct translation for this, he did confirm here for the first time that the mech that appears at the end of the E3 2013 trailer is indeed playable. We would learn later that it would be one of Snake's support buddies. Moving on, I would like to show you a highlight reel of various video interviews that yielded new information after the trailer's unveiling. Check it out.
So you can think Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes as the prologue to Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. Now with that said, we didn't want to go ahead and just put out an open world, a huge, vast, big world to the users of MGS, since they're used to the linear system. We wanted to have a prologue, which is the same system as MGS5, and get used to the open world. It's not as vast and as big as MGS5 to Phantom Pain, but Ground Zero is a good introduction into getting into the new system in the world of MGS. So we can't go into detail too much about the actual staging right now, but it is open world and there's regions where you can travel by helicopter, and of course from there it's seamless. But there will be different stages and levels that you can go to, and within that region it is seamless. So for the stealth aspect of the game, it's evolved where if you think back in the past, the designer would lay out a linear way to go stealth and stay within that linear system. Now this time around, with an open world system, the player gets to decide how he wants to go in, how he wants to go in stealth, and how he wants to go out. So there is no laid out program or rail that the player has to abide to. It's open world and it's freedom for the player to choose how to go in and out.
そのトレーラーに入ってますけど、敵の銃を奪えたりとか。
As far as CQC goes, we implemented that at MGS3. Now, as you saw in the trailer, you can take away the enemy's gun and use it for your own, and that all happens in one CQC. We can't go into details about more than what we've shown this time around, but from past Metal Gears and other games, comparing to that, there's a lot more things you can do in MGS5 this time around. So in past Metal Gears, like we mentioned before, it was a very linear game and very easy to tell the story, tell them what's going on and what's going to happen. Now, this time around, with an open world game, we make sure that the user gets to find out on his own. And as they go around and play more and more, get deeper into the game, they have to take the information that they've gathered and put the story together themselves. So what you've seen so far is definitely just a small portion of the game. And we haven't mentioned the release date yet, and there's a lot more to show. So of course there's a lot of things that we're still keeping to ourselves. We're putting out these trailers, giving hints into the story, the gameplay, so we hope that the fans and everyone gets to feel that and really think about what the game's going to be in the future. So I'm not going to divide it between Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain. MGS5 is coming out on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 and Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So it's going to be multi-generation. Of course, we are developing on a PC, so we look forward to releasing something on the PC sometime, but right now we don't have a release date and we aren't really looking to do that right now. That's not our priority. So we are making it and we hope to put it out as well.
Given your reputation, the trailers that you've shown off so far, do you think it's fair for fans to be skeptical of what they've been seeing? Like, should they believe everything that you're saying, or are you doing a little bit of misdirection?
Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima has explained that the Phantom Pain will be less like films than previous games and more like a television show. Kojima said during an E3 roundtable, "I'm sure you're worried about if the cutscenes were as long as Metal Gear Solid 4. Since this time around we're using an open world environment, Metal Gear Solid 5 will have less cutscenes than before. Because you'll be exploring, you'll have fewer opportunities to run into a cutscene that take the control away." Kojima continued, "If you think of Metal Gear Solids 1 through 4 as movies, The Phantom Pain is going to be like a TV series with episodes. Each episode breaks down into a non-linear mission that eventually come together to complete the story we've designed. Ground Zeroes perhaps best represents this." Kojima reconfirmed Phantom Pain is the big game, and included in that is the prologue Ground Zero.
So obviously at this time, Kojima's plan was to release Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain together on the same date, but I think when he realized that Phantom Pain would take much more time to develop than originally anticipated, that's when it was decided that Ground Zeroes needs to release separately, both to give fans a teaser of what's to come and to earn back some of the money that was being spent on this massive project. To be honest, I'm kind of glad this happened, because I can attest to the fact that Phantom Pain turned out to be much better thanks to audience feedback from Ground Zeroes. Anyway, here is another interview worth checking out.
I don't really understand what kind of console generation will be. With games that will be connected with social, others that connect with tablets. What kind of console we will have? What do you think about
Next gen.
Yeah, next gen, definitely.
For MGS5, ultimately we're going to be on the cloud. Well, that's where we see ourselves moving forward. But one step before that, we need to think about the multiple devices, whether it be the smartphones and tablets you just mentioned.
当然今までは、一番、次世代の特徴ではあると思います。
So I believe the appeal point of the next generation is that you can play video games anywhere, anytime, whether it be with tablets or consoles at home and on the road with smartphones and as well as tablets. And within MGS5, we feel that user-generated missions and enjoying the world of MGS5, it's going to be a lot more intensely diverse and deep once those tablets and smart devices get involved. People will be able to lay out their own missions as well.
例えばミッションで馬に乗ってどっかに行くで次の世代だと
For the next generation, I also feel that, for example, if you were to run your horse from point A to point B and post that on the social network and really share that for the world, other people can use that as a gauge. It's a race at one point now. So other users can challenge to beat that time and whatnot, and people are creating their own missions and really challenges within the MGS5 world. And how that spreads and how it is ultimately spread out through the world through these networks is what Next Gen is going to bring for us.
Metal Gear 5 will obviously feature a full open world, but which reasons do you have for this design decision? Is it because you like to play open world games?
今回はなぜゲームデザインをオープンワールド
エンジンを作るときに、オープンワールドができるようなエンジンを作ってもらう。
Well, I always really wanted to do open world. Well, we just didn't have the tech to do it at the time, but now that we have Fox Engine and have started development, we wanted to go open world.
大体の僕の以前作ってたメタルギアもそうですけど、その自由度を使ってメタルギアを作りたいということでオープンワールドにしました。
FPSs and my past Metal Gears have been a linear, really much a rail that the level designer and designers have put together, and it moves forward in a very timely way. You can't really go forward, or you only can go forward, you can't go backwards. So in an open world, what makes it very unique is that now that only a game can do is really you just do missions one at a time and not move forward on a time basis. You get to enjoy it and ultimately enjoy the story all at once, which is not linear driven, it's open world now.
You've chosen Jack Bauer to be a new voice after David Hayter of Metal Gear, as you like to put cinematics in Metal Gear, and it's a very important part of the games. Is it a new step to cinema?
今回、キーさんを選んだ理由、俳優さんを全て取り込んでキャラクターを作るというところに変えたかったと思います。
It's not necessarily about cinematics. That with the next gen and just the tech in general getting a lot better, the expressions and the animations really stand out more. And the theme for this game is race, and there's a lot of different culture and a lot of different kind of people that are included in this game, and the expressions are very important to the story in the game itself. So once you look back, we are looking forward to having actors and actresses really perform the character as its own. So whether it be the face, the animations, and the body and the voice, we want to have one person do it ultimately in the future.
The overall Metal Gear story from the very first Metal Gear through Metal Gear Solid through to this game, did you always have an idea what the overarching story would be, or did you write each new chapter with each new game? And I'm sorry.
メタルギアから今の MGS5 まで
新しく考えた作品。
Well, I'm definitely not Lucas, but I don't. I write my stories in games, develop games, thinking it's my last each time. So I don't think about each. I don't think about sequels. I look to end each game when I direct it one at a time. And I really wanted to bring the story and the design of games and the themes told in it a couple levels up to reach toward the generations as well. So this is why I chose themes like race and revenge and bring the industry up, because right now I feel that there's a lot of lack in the narrative and how it brings that into gaming.
Those themes that you always put in games like race and revenge, do you ponder whether to what you want to say about those, or is it a decision where you think, no, I want to say something about this, or is it something you have to think very carefully about?
実際のレース復習を書く前
ということで作っています。
So in the past games that I've made, I've always had a theme, and ultimately builds up to what I feel is the foundation of what I wrote is race and revenge. And the foundation of all this is race. All the battles and wars that are happening are about race and differences in culture and people, and that's what causes indifferences and the retaliation back and forth. And in order to make my story complete, this is an obstacle I couldn't skip, and I had to write this.
Are you looking at the other franchises to also utilize this engine?
はい、今エンジンの話ですね。今 MGS5 が
非常に僕らの負担が大きくなるので、そこは考えてます。
Yes, we do want to have the engine used internally in Konami, whether we pass in other franchises. That's why we made it, and it will be like that. But licensing-wise, externally of Konami, that's not something that we're looking at right now. It'd be a lot of work for us in general, and we want to keep developing games, so I think we'd stay away from that.
Any chance of a new Zone of the Enders?
そういうの新しいのありますか？
作ろうとしてたんですけど、今ちょっと保留になってます。
Right now, it's in hiatus.
Not the best presented interview, but it still definitely features some cool insight into Kojima's goal with Phantom Pain, both in terms of narrative and gameplay. Next up are segments from episode 4 of the Kojima Productions Alert podcast, published on June 21st, 2013, which was dedicated to providing some clarification on the various announcements made during E3 2013, as well as providing an extensive insight into the creation of the game's main theme, Sins of the Father.
Right, and welcome to episode number 4 of the KP Alert. This is your host, Sean Eystone, here with Ken Mendoza. Yay! Yay! And it's been, E3 is done and over. Our trailers are out there, and hopefully you've had some time to look at all the various versions of the trailer, including the extended director's cut, and digest those contents. In the meantime, I think it'd be useful just to kind of give a quick recap, of all the information that's out there, because we had a lot of news come out during E3. Of course, we had the trailer, one of the big news, big announcements, I guess, is regarding the theme. We touched on it a little bit in the last episode, but, it's official. It's been out there. Hideo's been doing various interviews. But, the theme is race, along with revenge. Now, what does that mean exactly? In particular, revenge is talking about, the cycle of revenge, the cycle of violence that kind of happens from, one party instigating some sort of violent action and then the other party wanting revenge for that. And it just repeats over and over. And, this is a real world thing. It happens in the real world. It's a problem that we have to face and something that Hideo wanted to put in the game, just tackle these subjects head on. So I'll be looking forward to more information on that. In addition, another recurring theme is this, concept of loss.
The phantom pain.
Phantom pain. You have that wonderful speech by Miller, in the start of the uncut, extended edition of the trailer. Wonderful voice acting performance, by the way, by Robin Atkin-Downs. Really heartfelt. And, the whole point of it is that all of the characters somehow have lost something, and it's really, this game is about that pain, that pain that they feel from losing, whether it's a leg or an arm or their voice or comrades, various things. And if you look at the trailer again with that in mind, I think you can pick out a few things, Ghost, Skullface losing his face, Quiet losing her words. And there's some hints, that's why we have those little character descriptions there. So that's the overall theme. Then, of course, in addition to that, Hideo had a lot of interviews while he was at E3. And I think, there may be a lot of news that may have slipped through the cracks. So we'd like to recap some of it here. Of course, he had these interviews in our Konami booth, in our interview room, with that wonderful new key art in the background, which we can now say was designed by Cal Cooper.
I personally think it's awesome. They gave us a lot of options to work within that concept. What came out, I'm very happy with it. What came out, hopefully people saw it. It's on our actually past KP alert there as well.
Mm-hmm. And also on our official Metal Gear Solid 5 homepage as well. So if you check that out, you can see this wonderful new artwork by Cal Cooper and his team. And of course, the direction came from Hideo himself. He kind of had this concept for this X-ray where you can see into Snake and see all these various things. So we are working with Cal Cooper for that. We did work with him for that, and we're continuing to work with him for other things in the game as well.
What is it, Sean?
What is it? We can't reveal too much just yet.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry to say. But stay tuned, because there will be more cool things coming. Another thing you may have seen on his Twitter is, Hideo posing with Troy Baker, who is the new voice actor and facial performance actor for Ocelot. And Troy is one of those voice acting legends. He's a god, basically. He's in everything.
He's amazing. He's really good.
Yeah.
We received very positive feedback for him, so the guy's great.
He's great, and we were looking for somebody who kind of could hit that right range. Someone who's between young Ocelot and older Ocelot, and he just has a cool quality to his voice. And he has the voice, in addition to the voice acting skills, he has facial skills as well. He's very good at performance capture, which he's also doing for other games like Infamous Second Son and whatnot. So yeah, we're very happy with him, and it's been a great pleasure working with him. And one other cool fact revealed during the E3 is the fact that Metal Gear Solid 5 will interact with smart devices in some form.
Smartphones, tablets.
So your tablet, your phone, you'll be able to interact with the game world, and that'll be kind of a window into the world of MGS5. Exactly what you can do with that, we are not ready to announce just yet, but know that there will be various aspects to the game that can interact with your various portable devices, and there'll also be some social aspects to that as well.
Well, we cannot go into detail, but something that is pretty obvious, but the fact that this is an open world game allows us to do that as well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to introduce these aspects when it's a linear game, but when open world game, you will see in the future, but there's a lot of ways we can take advantage of this.
Yeah, and we actually would love to tell you more right now, but we're saving that for a little bit later. So, all right, so that wraps up this year's E3. It was a great show. I think we had a lot of cool things there. Obviously, I think everyone loved the trailer. We got a lot of cool feedback, and to to continue where we left off in the last episode, we did promise an interview talking about the wonderfully dramatic song that we had during that trailer. And we're pleased to have Ludo coming up in just a few moments with an interview regarding Sins of the Father. All right, and welcome to our interview section. And here we have, once again, from the land of the Midnight Sun, it is Ludo.
The one and only Ludwig Forschel.
I'm back. All right. He is ready to go. All right, man.
I am.
He is hyped. All right, so...
Yeah. Just for those who missed Ludo last time, Ludo is a composer, a song composer here in Kojima Studios.
Yep.
He took a big part of the whole Moby Dick thing, and
I did.
Today he's here to talk about the E3 trailer and what part he took in it. So maybe you can start there.
Yes. Obviously, since it's me, this time it's not about Moby Dick, so it's going to be about music, and in this case, Sins of the Father, which is the new main theme for Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Yeah, Sins of the Father, a song which lyrics I had the pleasure of writing, and Honda-san composed the music, and like I said, I had the pleasure of writing the lyrics. So that's what I did for the trailer, and today you guys were kind enough to invite me to talk about this song.
Absolutely. So, first of all, I think there are a lot of people out there who don't really know what goes into composing a song. As you said, things are divided up. So Honda-san wrote composed the song. He wrote the actual lyrics for it, and then of course Donna Brooks sung it.
Yeah.
So how does that whole process work? Can you just guide us through that?
Well, first off, this song is kind of different from what we usually do, because we are working with background music, BGM, in-game music, which is basically 100% instrumental, without any lyrics or vocals on the tracks. So this is a bit different. This is supposed to be a song that's gonna be on the radio, on iTunes or whatever. So it's a bit different from what we usually do. And since Honda-san, Akihiro Honda, did the main theme for the last game, Peace Walker, the song Heaven's Divide, he's kind of the guy who knows how to do this best. And so basically what you do is, well, like making any song, you make a song, you make music, but when it comes to the main theme, the process is a bit more intricate and has a couple of steps that you have to go through to have it finished, because it has to relay the whole, it has to have the same impact as the whole game itself. It has to have a lot of themes in there for it to work. So Honda-san, basically, he was making a couple of versions and having Kojima-san and other people listen to them and then decide which one we were gonna use. And in the end, I think, I don't know exactly how many versions he did, but we ended up using version 1 and 4 and kind of fusing them together. So first, that's like the basic work that we do, and then we start recording vocals, trying out different themes, ways of singing it. When I was presenting my different versions for the lyrics, me, Akihiro Honda, and Hideo just went into the studio and played the music. And since we hadn't recorded the lyrics yet, I was actually singing them to Hideo.
So you were giving him an example of what it should sound like.
Yeah,
right?
what it should sound like, or how the different words go into the different, the melody and everything. The sins never die.
By the way, you should know Ludo is a great guy at karaoke. He goes wild on karaoke.
Yeah. And finally, once after I wrote the lyrics, and the lyrics also had been okayed by Hideo, Honda-san went to America to record strings and a lot of other things. I'll get into that later on, and also vocals. And then we bring that package back to Japan and work it into the trailer. And as probably a lot of people have noticed, this is not like a final one-track version of the song. It's pretty much exclusive for the E3 trailer.
Right. So I mean that's interesting, right? Because whenever we make a trailer, the song is tailored to that trailer. Right?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's both ways, kind of. When it comes to this trailer and also other trailers that we've done before, the music comes first. We know what song we're going to be using. And then Hideo makes the cuts and cuts around the music for the trailer. But also afterwards, we kind of do what we can to the music to make it fit a couple of the scenes better. I think Honda-san, Akihiro Honda, was saying...
I love how you say his full name every time you talk about him.
You're just like you're a PR agent, man. It's just like you're trying to promote the guy. I know.
Yeah. Anyways, so he came back and I think he made like 8 new versions of the song just to fit what Hideo wanted him to do. Right. So we tried a couple of different things with having vocals in there, taking the vocals out and going back and forth and trying out, 8 different versions until we finalized what we wanted to do.
Okay, so, as you mentioned, you do lay down the different versions of the music.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see the trailer evolve because, the first cuts of the trailer are significantly different. The music is different. I know during that stealth phase in particular.
Exactly.
There was lyrics over that segment initially, it's kind of had more of a driving, high energy feel to it. And then I think Hideo came back and said he wants something more suited to stealth, right? And that's when Honda-san went back and started rewriting things, right?
Yeah, we took out basically if you look at the trailer and listen to the music, it kind of goes into a crescendo, and then Donna. Her first words are words that kill, and then all the vocals are cut out. That's basically the part where usually the song would go into the refrain, the first chorus. But since we wanted the whole stealthy feel to that, we kind of took it down a bunch of notches.
Several notches, yeah.
Several notches.
But it's interesting, though, because it does create a certain tension there, because you expect it to go, and you're ready to go, and then it pulls you back, and that creates a certain tension in the viewer, right?
Yeah. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah. I know, like, in the studio, there are a lot of people who were like, they were really hyped in the initial version, and then like, oh, why'd you change it? I liked it. But,
exactly.
I think it's really just kind of matching what Hideo has in his head. He has a certain vision. He wants to make sure that the mood is right for the segment of the trailer that he's creating. And then one thing also is that before even any of this starts, before the music starts getting laid down and the length is decided and all this other things, Hideo himself comes up with the overall concept, right? He has what we call a jikonte, in Japanese, which is a text outline, basically, right? And so he'll have he'll send out an email to everybody involved, just saying, okay, this is the basic structure I want for the trailer. These cuts, these scenes, these parts of gameplay. This is how it's all. I kind of want it to fit together, and then it goes through a huge reiteration process where there's dozens and dozens of versions of this, just
a lot of time, tears, sweats, and blood involved.
Yeah, so the writers,
a lot of
blood involved,
and everybody gets involved with this, right? So the writing team comes in. The writers have to look for the lines that we want to use.
Exactly.
Of course, the music team comes in because you guys have to figure, okay, well, how are we gonna arrange the music here? How are we gonna fit it, lay down for the trailer? The sound team, of course, comes in later on after that. It's just. All these things have to come together, and of course, then of course we have to think of the captions and all this other stuff as well. The gameplay guys, the level designers have to come in because they have to make sure that they capture all the gameplay footage. The cutscene guys have to make sure that the cutscenes are up to visual par, and all of this happens because in the initial phase, Hideo just chooses scenes based on what he wants to show, not necessarily what's done at that point. So it then becomes a scramble, for everybody to say, okay, we have to get this up to level where it's good to show because we're going to go public with this level, we're going to go public with this cutscene. So then everybody in the studio just starts scrambling, making sure they can get everything up to par, so that it's in top-notch form so that we can put out the door and show it at E3. We have a schedule that we're working with for the whole game, but sometimes the particular scenes that we want to show in this trailer at that point in time may not be
aren't up there yet.
May not be done yet. So then we just have to reprioritize things and say, okay, let's do this because we want to show off this stage, we want to show off this character. But in the end, it's what's going to be in the game. It's just kind of reordering things and reprioritizing things, which is different, from a lot of other studios. And it's more difficult, but I think the end result is that much more impactful because of that. And I think Hideo approaches each trailer as a piece of art rather than just taking little clips out of the game just to highlight it like maybe a PR agency would do, or like an ad agency. So it's a different approach, and I think it shows in the final result. But that said, so you do go through this process of adjusting the music, then fitting the visuals onto that. As far as the music itself, the lyrics, we did cover a few. There's like words that kill. Where do those lyrics come from? Does Hideo, talk to you a lot about the lyrics or what he wants to, convey through the song?
So basically, for this game, we have a couple of keywords, race and revenge. And unfortunately, I cannot at this point tell you everything, but there's a lot of metaphors in the lyrics that have to do with the game and the whole Metal Gear saga, pretty much. But timeline-wise, I started working on the lyrics because we knew that, okay, E3 is coming up. We need to finalize this because I think Hideo had said from the start that for the E3 trailer, we will be using the main theme. So we started getting the lyrics together sometime in March, I think. And I came up with a couple of different versions and presented them to Hideo, and we ended up using one of them, and that's the one with words that kill, and in the latter part of the song, you actually hear how it connects to how words that kill connects to everything else.
I guess that's a good point for those who didn't realize it. That's there's things that come before that and after that. But it would be kind of a spoiler, I think, to put everything out there right now.
Well, yeah. There are a lot of things that even if you hear it now, you wouldn't be able to connect to anything. But afterwards, it'll be fun to see how people connect the dots that I kind of put in there, the metaphors. Like you were saying, words that kill connects to would you speak them to me? And there's also something that connects to in the trailer, there's words that kill, and then you go into the stealth part, and then Snake comes up and kills me.
Yeah, that's right. He does.
Yes.
That's
yes.
And he's feeling alive as he's doing it.
Yeah,
right?
It goes into I'm alive.
I'm alive.
There's something
as
that connects.
Kills Ludo.
There's something that connects into I'm alive. And hey, everybody, that's me. You get to kill me when you play this game.
That is true. Yeah. So that guy, and I think. We actually had a comment somewhere asking about who that guy was.
Really?
I don't know why. It's just some random guy, but somebody's like, "Who's that guy who looked like whatever?" And it's like, that's Ludo. Yeah. He's in the game, and this is interesting too because I think last time we introduced Mike, he was in the previous trailer as the doctor. You'll find various Koji Pro staff members hidden throughout the game,
or not hidden,
or just being shot.
They're just out there being shot.
But yeah, it's kind of funny because we don't know how we're going to be used. We may get killed.
What are you talking about?
We don't know. Well, we know how you're used. Yeah. So the rest of us are in suspense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah. So you get killed at that point.
I get killed, and like I was saying, there are other lyrics that connect into I'm alive. And obviously afterwards, there's the whole scene with Snake meeting up with Kaz, meeting up or saving Kaz. And then we go into the different characters presentation part of the trailer. And the music comes in full on. Pretty much basically what the song will sound like as a final version, not just like the E3 version.
All right, so just one question. I think a lot of people have been asking about this, but is this song ready? I mean, was this just part of it that wasn't trailer? Is the song ready to go? Is it going to be available on iTunes?
Yeah, like I was saying, the version that everybody's hearing within the trailer right now is not the song as it is in its whole. There are other parts to it, other vocals and everything. And we're still, Honda-san, he's still working on it. And unfortunately, I cannot tell you at this point when we will be releasing it. But
everyone knows the line. That means stay tuned for more sometime in the future, someday.
So, we used Donna Burke, for the song once again. She did a great job with Heaven's Divide on Peace Walker.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like working with her? What was the experience like?
It's been a fun experience because before I could even start thinking about the lyrics or even the song was done, we knew that we were doing this song and we were going to have her sing it. Hideo actually chose to use her again. They did a live once at some Uniqlo store, I think, and he was so thrilled with her way of singing Heaven's Divide at that point, so he decided on the spot that you're doing the next one as well. And so that's how it came about. How he decided to have her again. And so that was all decided pre-making the song. And for the 25th anniversary show, she came on and sang, and sang Heaven's Divide. And that was my first chance to actually meet her. And what she said, the first thing she said, because she'd heard about me and she knew that I was writing the lyrics, she said, "You're my nemesis. From now on, you're my nemesis. I hate you."
Oh,
that's the first thing she said.
That's a very nice way to meet someone.
Yeah. She was saying that she would have liked to write the lyrics herself. She's a fun person.
She has a great sense of humor. She's actually been on the previous incarnation of this show in the past, back when we did Peace Walker, and she's a lot of fun to be with. And
exactly.
She's very humorous. She always breaks a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
But she is an excellent singer. That's one thing I'll say. She has a great vocal quality, and I think it was at that Peace Walker launch event is probably what Hideo was talking about, which was that live. And Honda-san was there orchestrating everything, and Donna was singing. And it was great. It was an awesome live performance. And I think, it's funny because back in the Peace Walker days when we were looking for a singer, there were a lot of options on the table. And I think, there were some more popular, like pop singers and things like that the sound team was looking at. And I remember it very distinctly because, all of our PR marketing guys are like, let's use this person because she's hot and she's an upcoming star and all this kind of stuff. And, Honda-san was like, well, I want somebody with this certain vocal quality. I want somebody who can hit the notes that I write. I don't want to choose this person just because they look good or this person because they're, popular. I want somebody who can sing my song. And that, I remember that very distinctly because, we had to negotiate that with all of our PR and marketing guys. And they're like, why? We don't understand. But I think, in the end, when you hear the song and just, the quality of it and, just the overall atmosphere, I think it shows. And I think Honda-san definitely, Akihiro Honda, made the right decision.
Yeah, it's been a great experience working with her. She's been easy to talk to, easy to explain the different parts to her. And overall, she's just a happy person the whole time. So it kind of makes everybody else in the room happy as well. So that's very easy to work with. We recorded the vocals in LA at Capitol Studios in LA and flew her out there. She actually lives in Japan. Though she goes to back to Australia every once in a while, she lives in Japan. So we flew her out to LA and recorded the vocals during one session one day in LA.
And there's several phases to the recording, right? So I know Honda-san did the orchestra work before the vocals, right? And where was that done?
First, he went to Nashville. and Nashville is has been famous for country music,
Right.
but lately they're recording like any kind of music, from orchestral stuff, movie Hollywood stuff to just regular pop music. So he went to Nashville and recorded strings and piano, guitar, over there for 2 days, and then flew straight to LA for the vocal session. And after we did the vocal session, the next day we went to Santa Barbara and had everything mixed. And we had this great guy, Dennis S. Sands, who's music scoring mixer for Hollywood movies. He's done a lot of famous titles. For example, he did way back he did Forrest Gump. Lately he did Argo, and later this summer Pacific Rim.
Nice.
So he's this really well-known, awesome mixer guy, and we had him kind of mix the whole song together. And I forgot to mention that for the vocal session, I was I was joining in via Skype, so that I could give as much direction as possible to Donna for her vocal part. And it was during the middle of the night here in Japan, so I was pretty tired during the whole process. But yeah. It was fun to be able to listen in and see how they were working on everything there.
Okay, so Ludo, about the title of the song, "Sins of the Father." This is, first of all, it's a very cool title. It's obviously full of meaning. How did that get chosen?
Well, I knew that even before I started writing the lyrics, I knew that I needed a title that both would work well enough as a title and bear a lot of meaning, but also be connected to the game in a good way. So pretty much I decided the title. That's like the first thing I did. And I decided it, well, Sins of the Father is a well-used phrase, right? It's in the Bible. I think Black Sabbath did a song called "Sins of the Father." Maybe if you Google it, a lot of different things will come up. But first off, well, Metal Gear Solid is a saga that a lot of it revolves around family, and you have the relationship based on some kind of sins and some kind of things gone wrong in the past, and that's the basics for why I chose this title. And I think people have worked that out pretty much, but I'm pretty.
Pretty what?
I'm pretty.
I'm pretty.
Make sure you keep that. I want that in.
So,
I think I'm pretty.
I'm pretty.
I think I am.
I think the title really connects well to not only this game but the whole saga.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing, Ludo. I'm sure people out there will have a lot more questions for you in the future, and we'll probably bring you on at some point once again. But that was behind the scenes on the
behind the audio of the E3
E3
trailer,
yep.
MGSV.
And stay tuned for more. All right, thanks, Ludo.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Ludo.
All right, and welcome to the Codec, the section where we collect all of your feedback and answer your questions. All right, and in the wake of E3, we actually have a lot of comments, a lot of questions. Thank you very much for all the feedback. So first of all, a lot of people had questions about the characters in the trailer, and we'll try and answer as much as we can without giving away any spoilers.
No spoilers
No
here!
No spoilers here, just clarification. First of all, people saw that in the Red Band trailer, the extended director's cut, that there was a character there undergoing some sort of surgery and something removed from her belly. And yes, that was a girl, as
she was in a lot of
hopefully
pain.
Most of you noticed. And there are a lot of theories out there about who that is. People asked, is that Paz? And the answer is, yes, that is Paz. One other interesting bit of trivia is that, all that action that happens in that scene where they're opening up her belly, all those procedures are very realistic because we had an actual doctor on hand during the motion capture during that scene. We had somebody come by. He brought literally his medical kit with his scalpels and his clamps and all this thing. So he was instructing the motion actors on how they should perform the cut, how they would hold it open, what the patient would be doing at various points of the surgery. So yeah, it's very realistic, and like everything else, it's that attention to detail that we're aiming for to really take things to the next level. So hopefully you can go back and take a look at that part of the trailer again with a little bit more added context, and maybe some other theories.
All right, so we have a question from GTG saying, can you expand on what is meant by real-time weather? Is it like Tiger Woods 13 being hooked up to the Weather Channel? I'm not a tech guy, so please tell it to me like a 2-year-old.
All right. Okay, so a couple things. Real-time weather means that there will be dynamic weather conditions within the game that'll change within the context of the game's passage of time. As far as the passage of time within the game itself, it'll be very realistic and believable, but it won't necessarily be real time per se. It's not going to match the real world exactly. Right now, we're still tweaking things, but roughly you could say that about 6 hours of game time equals 24 hours in the real world.
Now, one thing very important to mention about that, 6 hours is what we are currently trying to adjust with, but don't quote us on that because, of course, the game is still being made and that might or might not change.
Right, so that's being tweaked, but the takeaway is accelerated time, so yes. Realistic time, but not necessarily real time. So, it won't be hooked up to the Weather Channel. It'll be weather within the game, within the context of the game, not real-time weather in that sense, but it'll be real-time weather conditions in the sense that weather conditions will develop and, occur within the game setting.
Daytime, nighttime, sandstorms. I mean, you can see it on the trailer. Actually, talking about the trailer, you may have noticed there's this cool Seiko watch running in the background of Snake while he's smoking a cigar. And one cool thing that I saw during E3 is that Hideo actually has that watch, like physically has that watch. Yeah,
that's
pretty cool.
That's
actually.
a cool thing. People may have noticed that during that segment where we're showing the watch on the screen and it's kind of accelerating time and showing the passage from day to night. There's a little copyright Seiko in the bottom right, if people noticed. And the reason for that is that watch actually exists. And, Hideo actually wore that when he was doing his E3 interviews and everything. Not too many people noticed, but yes, that watch does exist, and we will have more news on that, soon about where you can get these watches and various merchandise in the future. All right.
Now, next question, and this is a question we picked up from the many comments that we had from Facebook. This one specifically is from Mr. Stephen Cowlishaw. He says, you can now steal an enemy weapon. That's also new. This was in MGS4. Of course, you can steal weapons without killing or knocking enemies out. So what's new?
Okay, well, easy to answer. Yes, in Metal Gear Solid 4, you could take weapons from the enemy, but what's new with Phantom Pain is that you can take it from them while in the middle of doing CQC. So, the CQC is very dynamic. In past Metal Gears, you've seen it happen during cutscenes. The boss, for example, will grab a weapon away from someone, or, maybe Ocelot in MGS4 grabs a weapon away from somebody. Now you can do that. You can disarm someone and in the middle of your CQC combo, use that weapon against the person you're attacking. So it's very dynamic, very fluid, adds more options to it. So, in the middle of your combo, you can take a gun and clear out several enemies at once, without having to stop, knock them out, pick up a weapon. That whole process is much more fluid and dynamic. So hopefully that answers your question, Stephen. All right, so next. What do we got?
So our next question comes from Jake and Sean will.
Yes, so Jake writes in and says, I was wondering, will we see a trailer with maybe a comparison of PS3 graphics, PS4 graphics, 360 graphics, Xbox One graphics? I'm concerned, as well as a lot of other people concerned about, maybe a drop in quality of the graphics on various platforms. And for this particular question, we can say that what you saw at E3 right now is actually more attuned for current gen. We're developing on a PC because it's a multi-platform game. We're using the Fox engine, which can export to various types of platforms. What you've seen up to this point has been targeted at Xbox 360 and PS3. And the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions of the game will actually look better than what you've seen so far. So, as far as a quality drop, I wouldn't worry too much about that. What you're going to get on PS3 and Xbox 360 will be very, very close to what you've seen so far. And for those of you who buy next-gen platforms, you'll get something even better. So don't worry about that. All right. From Peace Runner, we have a comment that says, about the guys saying that they want almost every character to be 3D scanned for real people, I can say I'm on the opposite side. It's cool to have real-looking people in the game, but at the same time I think it's really more artistic to have a character designed by hand like Big Boss and the other main characters. It gives the character its own identity rather than the identity of the person that's being captured. Video game characters being handmade by an artist like Shinkawa gives them a unique identity that is certainly their own. But if a character is 3D scanned, it will always have that connection to the person who it was scanned from. Big Boss is scanned from John Doe instead of Big Boss's Big Boss. I'm not saying you should stop 3D scanning real people, but I wish that someday unique characters from your future video games will still be made, handmade, like in previous games. All right, and we wholeheartedly agree with you, actually, and that's why, not every single character in the game is being 3D scanned. Certain characters are, like for the newer characters, they're new characters, they don't have an established look, so they are being 3D scanned. But one thing to point out is that all of these characters start with Shinkawa-san.
Yep.
So
all of them.
All of them. He's the character, the character designer. He's the concept artist. He comes up with the concepts for all the characters, and from there, of course, for the existing characters, we brush up, past models, do things with them to make them look next gen. For new characters, it then goes to kind of like a casting process, kind of like how you do with a movie. Even movies like Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, usually starts with some kind of concept art, with costumes, makeup, whatever, and then you go into casting to find people who look like those characters, and that's kind of the process that we've used this time. That said, there are some characters who maybe have no equivalent in real life, and this is true for characters like Code Talker. Code Talker is the old guy that you see in the trailer. And, according to this, setting in the story, he's supposed to be over 100 years old. So he has these amazing wrinkles on his face. He's this old, really gnarly looking character. And obviously, it'd be very hard for us to find, somebody who's actually 100 years old to do this part. So what we did is we actually called in, some special effects prosthetic makeup artists. The guy we used in particular is named Tsuji-san, and he's had a lot of experience working on movies like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Looper, Total Recall, Tron Legacy, and he actually did that makeup art. We started with a base of an actor and then kind of put makeup on that base to create what you see as, the face of Code Talker. So, we fully agree with you that, we don't want to sacrifice art just for realism, and there still is that artistic aspect to it. And that actually was kind of the whole point of our photorealism through the eyes of a fox presentation that we did at GDC a few months ago. So if you haven't checked that out, Peace Runner, I'd say go and look at that. But that's essentially what it is. Photorealism is important, but you should not sacrifice creativity in order to achieve that. So thank you. Good question.
All right, for the next one, we'll address two questions at once because, you'll hear. First, we have from Ikuzo. Can you tell us any more about the new LA studio? And it relates to the question from Solid Train, where he says, there are plenty of us who would like to know more about some MGO details, so please keep us updated. Nice job with the trailers, by the way. Really awesome work. Truly on the whole show.
Yeah, so obviously we're reading both of these questions at the same time, which means they're related. I think we still have a lot of questions and comments regarding MGO, and we thank you all for that.
You guys rock!
You do, and last time we said we'd say more when we had more. We can't reveal too many details just yet, but we can say that yes, we are making it. So rest assured, there will be some sort of online mode for Phantom Pain, and we're actually having a lot of the guys in the LA studio help us out with that. That's not to say that we're just throwing it at them. That's not the case at all. We're working with them. We're constantly going back and forth. Actually, they spent a good time in Japan just a few weeks ago, interacting with the team. Some of our team members just went and visited them, the other week during E3. So there's a lot of interaction going on to make sure that the online portion works hand in hand with, the single player option. And it really comes together as a really nice coherent whole. But that's more or less how we're moving forward with MGO. More details will be announced. We can't say too much just yet, but rest assured we are working on it.
Right, that's it for today. We really appreciate all the feedback. We got a lot of positive comments about the trailer. We thank you all. We cannot read all the comments here, but we really read them and appreciate it. And, well, keep it coming.
All right, so thank you everybody for listening. See you next time.
Sorry if that segment lasted a little too long, but there's just a lot of cool insight and information there that I felt like I just couldn't cut out. Anyway, next, let's take a look at some important bits of information released through articles and through Twitter, starting with this article by website DualShockers published on June 13th, 2013, which translated an interview with Hideo Kojima by Japanese website 4Gamer. Here, Kojima provided specific details about the game's 1984 setting, stating the following. Since making Metal Gear Solid 3, I always wanted to make a game about the history of this era. In addition to that, 1984 is also the title of a novel by George Orwell, and Metal Gear Solid 5 includes Orwellian themes. Metal Gear Solid 3 was set in 1964, Peace Walker in 1974, and Metal Gear Solid 5 in 1984. We're going in increments of 10 years. It's a balance, since teenagers nowadays weren't born in 1984, but it's not too old. That said, you can expect other settings, not just Afghanistan. It also talked a bit about how stealth differs in this game compared to previous entries in the series. Stealth in Metal Gear Solid 5 is very realistic. It's not just a matter of following the rules of the game anymore. You can decide to just walk to your destination or ride a car. There are less sentries during the night, but you'll be easy to spot if you turn on the headlights. Of course, there are a lot more sentries during the day. I think the definition of real stealth simulator is appropriate. Previously, when the game was on rails, players knew what to expect, because designers just put an explosion there, a collapsing wall there. It was like a haunted house. Now, weather and time will change. I wanted to make this game allowing 1 million of different players to play in 1 million of different ways. A few days later, on June 18th, 2013, DualShockers posted another interview translation, this time for when Kojima talked about Quiet during his interview with both 4Gamer and Famitsu. Kojima had the following to say about the mysterious character to Famitsu. In the game, Quiet is the main heroine. Whether she is friend or foe has yet to be revealed, so I had to be careful when casting her role. MGS normally has old-timers and old guys. Stephanie is very skilled in action, but since she never held that type of gun, we asked her to do some training at home. And then he stated the following to 4Gamer. With Stephanie, we had to make sure to focus her 3D motion on capturing her facial and body language and not her voice, since Quiet does not speak. She does make small sounds like ugh and ah though. The next big interview with Kojima that was published came from Ju-Video magazine, whose information was relayed by website MetalGearSolid.be on June 27, 2013. Most of the article pretty much reiterated information that Kojima has already talked about, but something new he stated was that there will be certain moments in which players are able to choose between life or death for certain characters. This is indeed true, as you'll discover when you play Phantom Pain. It isn't something that's super prominent, but it's there. Following this interview throughout the months of July, August, and September, some other bits of new information were unveiled through social media. On July 12, 2013, Jay Tavare would for the first time reveal through his Facebook page that he would be doing the facial capture and voice for Code Talker in Phantom Pain. Then, on a later date, he confirmed that the character would speak both Navajo and English, further confirming the theory that Code Talker might have been a Navajo Code Talker at one point. Moving on towards the beginning of August, Kojima began tweeting pictures of himself in a motion capture suit, hinting that he might make an appearance in MGS5. This indeed turned out to be true, as we would see him make a cameo in Ground Zeroes' Intel Operative Rescue mission. Then, later in the month, on August 26, 2013, Kojima tweeted that stupid jokes will make a return for Phantom Pain despite its more serious tone, and that this was met positively by members of Kojima Productions. The last bit of post-E3 2013 Phantom Pain information I would like to discuss are a series of tweets that Kojima posted on September 7th, 2013. Kojima was well aware of concerns that people had over Quiet's attire, or lack thereof, so he had the following to say. I know there are people concerned about Quiet, but don't worry. I created her character as an antithesis to the women characters that have appeared in past fighting games who are excessively exposed. Quiet, who doesn't have a word, will be teased in the story as well, but once you recognize the secret reason for her exposure, you will feel ashamed of your words and deeds. I can confirm that there is indeed a reason for the way she dresses, although what that is something you'll have to discover when you play the game. And that wraps up this compilation of all of Phantom Pain's post-E3 2013 information. So with that, I would like to end Day 7 of the Metal Gear Solid 5 Countdown Retrospective. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts were as all this information was being unveiled. And to be further updated on the MGS5 Countdown Retrospective, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.